Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, felt it was useful. I also have an Instagram page down there, links in the description. Now let's get into this. So, when I put a post up in my community tab there last week, I said that I wanted to keep doing the Fighters with a Problem series and left it up to the fans to decide. And although I can't vote on my own community tab, I was hoping the fans would pick Callum Smith because that was all I wanted to talk about. Obviously AJ won, close between him and Callum Smith, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to do Callum Smith. Well, this is my own Fighter with a Problem series, and I think this is legit. I think that this fighter does have an issue, you know, from a technical point of view, slightly, but, you know, looking at the grand scheme of things, I think Callum Smith has an issue there with several things. So, at the time I'm recording this video, we haven't had an announcement that Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo was next, but we're hearing strong reports from MTK. We're seeing a lot of people reporting on it now. I don't know if this video will go up either Wednesday or Thursday, so by the time this does go up, the fight may have already been announced. So Callum Smith, we know he was one of the front runners for this fight at one stage. You know, we were pretty much told it was Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders to be getting the Canelo fight. Obviously last week we heard the reports that he turned down an offer to face Canelo Alvarez. As I said in that video, I don't know if they thought they were worth more than the offer was made, potentially. You know what Joe Gallagher is like when he's, you know, managing fighters. We've seen him be a bit, you know, kind of a brazen to Eddie Hearn with regards to some of his fighters. And I think Joe Gallagher, you know, especially when you talk about Callum Smith or people like that, yeah, he really does, he bakes them off. They're his fighters, he's managing them. But I think he goes a bit overboard sometimes. And, you know, first thing I thought of was, did they want more money? Then I kind of started thinking after, it was only after I'd done the video, I started thinking, wait a minute, what the rehydration clause? Which, to be fair, Callum Smith, a £10 rehydration clause probably killed the guy. So you can look at that and think, okay, maybe that's why he didn't take the Canelo fight. But if you look at his options moving forward, Callum Smith moving forward, if he doesn't get this Canelo fight and Canelo goes on to fight Triple G in September, who does he have at 168 pounds? Because I've never been sold on the idea that Callum Smith is the number one super middleweight in the world. No. He done well to win the World Boxing Super Series. He beat George Groves, but that was the only real name he beat. He fought that Skoglund guy, and there was a few little shaky moments there. He fought that kickboxer on, 5 days notice, and that was a competitive fight. So Callum Smith was looking real shaky in them fights. Wasn't looking to be the puncher that we kind of come to know him as. Then he fights George Groves, coming off an injury, the last fight of Groves' career. He looked good in that fight, you know, to be fair, but it was still quite close. Then he goes and fights Hassan N'Dam. And, Sky made it out that this was, you know, whatever it was. You know, it was an amazing performance. Yeah, he got rid of Hassan N'Dam. Hassan N'Dam's always been chinny. Yeah, he's game, but he's always been chinny. You look at some of the fights Hassan N'Dam's been in. Peter Quillen had him 6 or 7 times. Seriously, go look at it. 6 or 7 times he bounced him off the canvas in their fight. Lemieux had him up and down off the canvas. Murata had him up and down off the canvas. He's always been chinny, and he's a career middleweight at the end of the day as well. So I didn't read too much into the Hassan N'Dam performance. Then we looked at the John Ryder fight, and boy, I thought John Ryder won that fight comfortably. And loads of people did. Most people who commented on that video and the subsequent videos did about that thought that John Ryder won the fight. You know, some said it was close, but everyone, general consensus was John Ryder won that fight. I thought it was a little bit wider, but of course Callum Smith won it by a landslide in the judges' scorecards, which was ridiculous. You know, ridiculous. And, you know, from then you kind of thought, okay, Canelo fight maybe, looked vulnerable, looked shaky, but no. And you know, with Eddie Hearn and with Joe Gallagher, they're trying to build Callum Smith, because Callum Smith even said he was looking elsewhere from Eddie Hearn going into the John Ryder fight, but I think it was prior to that fight being announced, because they felt they were worth more, they wanted more money. Eddie Hearn, I think, even admitted that he overpaid him for the John Ryder fight. Callum Smith's just not a name. You know, he's a name in Liverpool, but if you look at the bigger picture, he's not really a big name. Like, they've had him on Soccer AM, me and Eddie talked about this, they had him on Soccer AM, they've had him on, you know, this, that and the other, trying to get him out there and sold to the public, but he's just not got the charisma for the public. You know, he's just not got the charisma to be a big name. And, you know, when you look at him in the ring, I've never been sold on the fact that he's, you know, number one in the division. You know, I look at guys like David Benavidez, who is very impressive. I look at guys like Caleb Plant, who just, every time I see him, I'm more impressed. Every single time I see him, he just looks better and better, does Caleb Plant. And they're obviously PBC guys, so it's unlikely we'll get them fights. But I just wouldn't see Callum Smith beating either of them. I think Plant beats him, and I think Benavidez beats him. Benavidez is huge. He's every bit as big as Callum Smith. Maybe even a bit bigger because he's younger. He can still grow a bit. And, big guy as well as Callum Plant. Great boxer. Decent power. He's shown to have a little bit more punch and power as of late. So those guys are good. Canelo Alvarez, I think he's going to go back down to 160. So it looks like that fight could be off the table. And it's going to come to a stage where eventually he's probably going to have to move up to light heavyweight. And if you look at the big picture at light heavyweight, you got guys like Alberto Ramirez. I rate Ramirez very highly, and I think that'd be a good fight. Artur Beterbiev is not as tall as Callum Smith, but the punching power that guy has, even though he is getting older and he has looked a bit fragile, I think he'd still have the power to take Callum Smith's head clean off his shoulders. You go Vodcek, he's a good fighter, good boxer. Dimitri Bivol beat Callum Smith in the amateurs, willing to go down to 168 pounds to fight Callum Smith. So there's not easy fights out there to be made. Now, if you look at his immediate future at super middleweight, I mean, if Billy Joe and Canelo were tied in, and Billy Joe, say, lose to Canelo, he's not going to get the Canelo fight this year. They're not going to want to do Billy Joe if he's coming off the back of a loss. They might try and do it, but I can't see it. Demetrius Andre, hell no, wouldn't want to see that fight. Don't think that fight happen. It makes more sense to do John Ryder rematch. Seriously, that looks like, if he doesn't get the Canelo fight, it looks like the John Ryder rematch is the most likely fight at this stage for Callum Smith. And I think John Ryder deserves a rematch, truth be told. And to be honest with you, even though it won't happen, I don't think it should be in Liverpool. I think it should be neutral ground. Neutral ground for the John Ryder rematch, not in Liverpool. Because that decision was shocking the first time around. And who knows, Eddie Hearn might even try. Seriously, if Joe Gallagher and Callum Smith think they're worth more money, I would not be remotely surprised if Eddie Hearn tries to put the rematch on pay-per-view. If the rematch happens. Wouldn't be surprised. I think it'll flop if done it on pay-per-view. But if they want that money and they think they're worth that money, if Eddie Hearn's willing to keep Callum Smith because he believes in him, they might do it. They might do John Ryder versus Callum Smith on pay-per-view. I don't think they will, but stranger things have happened. We've got Kell Brook versus Frankie Gavin on pay-per-view. Let that sink in, people. Frankie Gavin, of all people, fought Kell Brook on pay-per-view. Frankie Gavin, you would pick that Mark DeLuca guy over Frankie Gavin. Even a prime Frankie Gavin would probably pick that Mark DeLuca guy over him. Seriously. And we got that on pay-per-view. So, not outside the realms of possibility. And, looking at Callum Smith, like I said, where do you see him going? He's not going to get a fight with one of the other champions, Plant or Benavidez, because Al Heyman, Al Heyman, I don't know. So see, sometimes with Al Heyman, what I think of is, it's not that he doesn't have confidence in his fighters. I think that if he sees a perceived threat from a fighter, a rival fighter, unless he absolutely has to, he won't put them in. Now, potentially he could look at Callum Smith and think, you know what, Callum Plant, yeah, I'm pretty confident in him, or Benavidez, pretty confident in him. But like I said, he tries to keep it all in-house, and I don't think he even wants to take that risk unless he absolutely has to, of sending his guys onto a rival network or having them come over there if he doesn't have to. So it's a strange one for Callum Smith. I really don't know where he's going to go from here. Maybe I'm forgetting some names in the super middleweight division. Maybe I'm just not thinking off the top of my head. But fights that I could probably see him, if he wants to have, say, 2 fights this year, seriously, I hope this fight doesn't happen, but I could see them getting on the Golden Boy and just saying, let's have Lemieux, let's stick him in with Lemieux. Or, I could definitely see the John Ryder rematch happening if he doesn't get the Canelo fight. And, if he doesn't get the Canelo fight this year or even next year, what does he do? Because he's a huge guy. And when I say huge, as in big body, he's not going to be able to make 168 pounds much longer. I'm surprised he's still doing it, truth be told. I remember watching him when he fought Rocky Fielding, and I obviously seen him prior to that, and I was thinking, how is this guy making super middleweight? That's 5 years ago, people. If I was thinking that back then, I'm sure he's struggling like a motherfucker now to get down to super middleweight. So you got to imagine eventually he probably will step up and move to 175. It's not going to get any easier there either. So, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know. Does Callum Smith have a big problem? I enjoy doing this. I actually enjoy doing this more than I did the AJ one, because I think Callum Smith does have a lot more kind of things you need to ask questions about from every point of view. And he does things from a physical point of view as well that I don't like as well. But that's neither here nor there at this stage. We've gone over so much already. I don't want to keep this video too long. So, you know, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you think down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you're new to the channel. Leave me your comments down below. What do you think the future holds for Callum Smith? Let me know. Hope you enjoyed this, and as always, I will talk to you after.